Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome to another Pokemon character study. In these videos, I like to take a comprehensive look at the many characters in the Pokemon franchise. From someone's appearance in the games, to how they're shown in the anime, to even how different they can be in the manga. In this series, I like to analyze and compare a character's many versions across the Pokemon universe. For today's character study, we'll be taking a look at a character that, despite having a somewhat smaller role in the games, is one of many people's favorite trainers, and actually won the poll at the end of the last character study by quite a large margin. I'm of course talking about the 8th gym leader of Sinnoh, the electric-type master, the shining, shocking star himself, Volkner. For today's character study, we'll be taking a deeper look at what exactly Volkner is like throughout the franchise, including, but not limited to, his personality, Pokemon team, and actions. Now, just so we have a little bit of background on his general characteristics before we jump into all of his different versions, Volkner is the 8th and final gym leader of the Sinnoh League and specializes in electric types. His signature Pokemon is his Electivire, and he has an excellent taste in fashion, which is something that almost all of the electric type leaders have in common. What sets him apart from other gym leaders, however, and is an aspect about his character that transfers into both his anime and manga counterparts, is that he's actually become somewhat depressed and bored with Pokemon battling. As the 8th and as he proclaims toughest gym leader of Sinnoh, he's felt rather underwhelmed by a lot of the battles he's had lately, saying that they just weren't that challenging or exciting, and he takes to remodeling his gym as a way to combat his boredom. This disinterest is something that's depicted in almost every version of him, and as you'll see throughout this character study, it really helps him stand out from most other Pokemon characters. Switching quickly over to his name origin, Volkner's name most likely comes from the German word Volker, which means defender or people's guard. This is possibly a reference to how, in a sense, he's guarding or defending the Pokemon League from trainers wishing to go there, as they need to beat him first in order to get the 8th badge and be accepted as a challenger. It's also possible this name was chosen as it sounds slightly close to the word Volt, which could be a reference to his signature type of electric Pokemon. There's a lot more info about Volkner to talk about, but pretty much everything else is specific to his different versions, so let's officially get this character study started, and take a look at Volkner within the games. Volkner has so far appeared in 5 Pokemon games. Generation 4's Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, where he's a gym leader, and Generation 5's Pokemon Black and White 2, where he's competing in the Pokemon World Tournament. It's really not a lot of appearances, and they're objectively smaller roles, but despite all that, he's still become a fan favorite for a lot of people. In order to fully understand his character and just why he may be so popular, let's take a more in-depth look at his game appearances and start with his initial debut in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Really quick, it's worth noting that Volkner's appearance in all of the Sinnoh games is almost identical, except that in Platinum, he shows up a few more times in the post-game as a trainer you can battle. I'll make sure to specify when we start talking about the Platinum-only stuff, but just keep in mind that Volkner is almost entirely the same between these 3 appearances. Alright, jumping into specifics now, in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, Volkner is the 8th gym leader of Sinnoh and specializes in electric types. He lives in and acts as the gym leader for Sunnyshore's City and has become kind of depressed and bored with the position, as no good trainers have faced him in a while. Because of the lack of challengers and excitement, he spends most of his time renovating his gym, and apparently, he was the sole person who built the puzzles inside of it, which is pretty impressive. Now, as far as other significant details about Volkner go, he's actually very good friends with the Elite Four member Flint, and in the few times you see them together, they're usually joking and friendly. The reason I bring this up is because when you initially arrive in Sunnyshore, you immediately bump into Flint, who asks the player to give Volkner such a good battle that it will reignite his passion for Pokemon battling. This small scene shows that Flint is definitely a great friend to Volkner and is trying to help him out of his depressed state by sending tough challengers Volkner's way. Speaking of Volkner, he isn't actually at his gym when you arrive in Sunnyshore, and you have to go to the Vista Lighthouse in order to find him and get him to return to his gym for a battle. It's here that we get a glimpse of what Volkner is truly like when he says that he really has nothing keeping him tied to Sunnyshore City now that he's finished remodeling his gym, and that if he finds the player weak and not challenging in their gym battle, he himself is going to challenge the Pokemon League. He mentions that all he really wants is to find Pokemon battles thrilling again, and it makes sense that the best place in the region to get formidable battles at would be with the Elite Four. I find this seeking challenging battles aspect about Volkner to be really interesting. I guess you can kind of see it from the point of view that maybe he's being a little bit arrogant about his strength, but when you take into account how he acts in your few encounters with him, it really does seem like he's disheartened. He himself is so good at battles that they don't thrill or excite him anymore, which I can definitely see as being a little bit depressing and aggravating for him. He's actually kind of giving me Saitama vibes now. In fact, I wonder if... After Volkner returns to his gym and you make your way through his gear-based puzzles, you finally come face to face with the electric-type expert himself. After exchanging some words, which all have sort of a depressing spin on them, where Volkner says that he really hasn't had a great battle in a while, the player and him finally engage in combat for the Beacon Badge. In Volkner's gym battle, he has two different teams he uses, one for Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and one he uses in Platinum. In Diamond and Pearl, he uses a Raichu, Ambipom, Octillery, and Luxray, while in Platinum he has a Jolteon, Raichu, Luxray, and Electivire. They're actually fairly different from each other, and if you want to know why he has an Octillery on his Diamond and Pearl team, I'm afraid I can't answer that, as I have no idea. It never made much sense to me why an electric-type gym leader had a water-type Pokemon, besides maybe being a counter to potential ground types the player may have brought, and I'm kinda glad they changed it in Platinum. After defeating him, he laughs and exclaims that that's the most fun he's had with a battle in a long time. He gives the player the Beacon Badge as well as the TM Charge Beam and encourages them to take on the Elite Four, who he thinks should feel a little bit worried about the player's strength. After seeing Volkner be so depressed and down, it's pretty awesome to see him so lively and upbeat, and he almost seems like an entirely different person. This is the last appearance Volkner makes in Diamond and Pearl, but as I mentioned, he does show up a few times during the post-game content of Pokemon Platinum, starting with him appearing at the Sinnoh Battle Frontier. When you first arrive at the Battle Frontier, you'll find both Flint and Volkner there, who challenge you to a double battle with Barry. In the battle, the three Pokemon Volkner uses are Luxray, Jolteon, and Electivire, which in a way are almost counterparts to the Pokemon Flint uses in the battle, which are Houndoom, Flareon, and Magmortar. After the battle, you get to see a little bit more of how Volkner reacts to losing against a strong trainer, which always makes him really excited and alive. It's kind of funny to compare this to how Flint reacts to losing, where he becomes very heartbroken and depressed. Volkner's next appearance in the Platinum postgame is at the Battleground, which is a place where he can have rematches with gym leaders and a few other characters from around Sinnoh. In the rematch, he uses the exact same team he does in your Platinum gym battle with the addition of a Lantern. Upon defeat, he mentions something kind of interesting and says that there are some Pokemon trainers always have on their team, and for him, he always has his Electivire, which confirms that that's his signature Pokemon. His final appearance in Platinum is at the player's villa in the resort area, where he sometimes drops in and hangs around. He says a few interesting things here, but I think the most compelling thing he talks about is why he uses electric types. As it turns out, when he was younger and got his first gym badge, he used the move Thunderbolt in the battle, and as he explains, he doesn't want to forget how happy he was when he won, which is why he sticks to such an electrifying type. It's always cool to hear why some gym leaders choose certain types, and I can definitely respect Volkner's reasons for being an electric type user. That's the last appearance Volkner makes within Generation 4, so let's jump ahead now to his next and so far most recent appearance in Generation 5, more specifically Pokemon Black and White 2. In the games, he's competing in the Pokemon World Tournament and you can battle him various times throughout it. He participates in 3 different sub-tournaments, which are the Sinnoh Leaders Tournament, where he uses his Electivire, Luxray, Raichu, Jolteon, Rotom, and Electrode, the Type Expert / World Leaders Tournament, where his team is exactly the same except Rotom is in its fan form, and the Gather Gym Leaders DLC Tournament, where you can battle him in a double battle and he uses an Electivire, Electros, Galvantula, and Zebstrika. And with that, we've taken a look at, so far, all of Volkner's appearances within the games. Compared to some of the other characters he appears alongside, such as some of the other Sinnoh gym leaders, Volkner definitely has a larger presence, but at the same time, I feel like he's still a relatively secondary character. That being said, I can definitely see why some people liked his character and story. You're essentially helping him find the love and passion for Pokemon battles again, and on top of that, he's also a somewhat challenging gym leader to battle too, which all amounts to him being a pretty awesome character overall. One thing I haven't mentioned yet, but probably should, is that there's a ton of rumors and speculation going on right now about potential Diamond and Pearl remakes. As of the time I'm making this video, nothing's been confirmed yet, but I have no doubt that if they do exist, Volkner would definitely be a gym leader in them. Once again though, as of the time I'm making this video, nothing's been confirmed, and Volkner has only appeared in Generations 4 and 5. Really quickly, before we move on to the anime, there's a few cards related to Volkner that have appeared within the trading card game that we should talk about. Of the 5 Volkner-related cards, which all come from the Rising Rivals expansion, 3 of them are Pokemon, while the other 2 are trainer cards. Regarding the Pokemon, there's a Luxray, Luxray Level X, and Raichu, while the trainer cards are Sunnyshore's City Gym, which when in play allows any damage done by electric-type Pokemon to not be reduced if a Pokemon is resistant to that type, and Volkner's Philosophy, which allows you to discard a card and draw cards until you have 6 in your hand. Alright, let's move on ahead to the next version of Volkner to talk about, the anime version. He's incredibly similar to the one from the games, as he's an electric-type gym leader in Sunnyshore's City, although he has his differences, mainly in his relationships in the past, as well as how he runs his gym. Volkner first appears in Diamond and Pearl episode 165, Flint Sparks the Fire, where Ash goes to challenge him to a gym battle and finds that Volkner is actually giving away beacon badges for free. As it turns out, this Volkner, much like the game version, lost interest in Pokemon battles and has resorted to giving away his badges without any kind of challenge. Ash doesn't like the idea of just taking a badge without earning it and tries to persuade Volkner to battle him, but ultimately Volkner refuses. After this, Flint, who had originally taken Ash to see Volkner, takes Ash and his friends to a local cafe and sheds some light on Volkner's past. The big thing revealed here is that he and Volkner were rivals when they were younger and eventually became good friends. You kind of assume that to be the case in the games, but the anime actually goes so far as to show and confirm the two's friendship in their youth. Another thing that's also revealed is that Volkner is really into modern day technology and designed a lot of Sunnyshore City's greatest innovations, such as its walkways, solar panels, and even the Sunnyshore Tower, which supplies power to Sunnyshore City. At this point, Volkner actually comes into the cafe and Ash once again tries to reason with him, but to no avail. In an interesting turn of events, it's decided that Ash and Flint are going to battle with Volkner watching, in the hopes that it will spark some kind of emotion or drive within Volkner to want to battle again. Ash and Flint's battle is pretty intense, but ultimately Ash loses against him. It wasn't all for nothing though, as Volkner saw a little bit of his younger self in Ash, and at the end of the battle says that he'll take on Ash as a gym leader for the Beacon Badge. In the next episode, Diamond and Pearl 166, the Fleeing Tower of Sunnyshore, Ash and Volkner start their battle against each other, and we get to see part of Volkner's team. He uses a Luxray against Ash's Grottle, and it's a pretty heated battle. That is until the power goes out. As it turns out, this was all caused by Team Rocket stealing the Sunnyshore Tower, which may sound impossible, but somehow Team Rocket found a way. Before Team Rocket is able to get away with their plan, Ash and Volkner board the flying tower, defeat Team Rocket, and return it back to its proper place on the ground. Even though the day is saved, there's still some slightly disappointing news for Ash, as Volkner decides to postpone their gym battle until he can fix the Sunnyshore Tower and the town, which were both thrown into disarray by Team Rocket. 13 episodes later, in Diamond and Pearl episode 179, the 8th wonder of the Sinnoh world, Volkner and Ash finally had their official, full-on gym battle against each other. In the battle, we see Volkner's Electivire and Jolteon, but what it ultimately comes down to is his Luxray versus Ash's Infernape. The battle is intense, but due to Ash's Infernape's Blaze ability activating, he gets the edge up on Volkner's Luxray and wins the battle. After the battle, Volkner gives him the Beacon Badge, as well as thanks him for reminding him just how much fun Pokemon battles can be. And that's the last we've seen of Volkner in the anime. As far as gym leaders are shown and portrayed within the anime, it's a pretty normal depiction, but I am really glad they kept Volkner's depressed and bored with battles personality traits intact. They're arguably his most defining aspects, and just like the games, it's kind of cool to see that Ash helped reignite Volkner's passion and love for Pokemon battling. Okay, to finish off this video, let's switch over to the last versions of Volkner to talk about. The manga versions. Like most gym leaders, he's shown up in quite a few different Pokemon manga, such as the Diamond and Pearl Adventure and Pocket Monsters DP manga, but most of these appearances fall more in line with cameos, so I won't really be diving into them. Instead, I'm going to focus heavily on detailing his character and actions in one specific manga, namely the Pokemon Adventures / Pokemon Special manga. While Volkner isn't really a main character in this one, he does have a fair amount of page time, and I'd definitely say he's a somewhat important supporting character that helps shape the overall story. One thing to keep in mind before I start breaking down his appearance in Pokemon Adventures is that I will be going into spoilers for both the Diamond and Pearl chapter and the Platinum chapter, so consider this a spoiler warning. Alright, let's take a look at Volkner in Pokemon Adventures. In the Diamond and Pearl chapter, after Maylene, Candace, and Platinum get beaten by Team Galactic, they ask Byron to send somebody to help train them to become stronger. Byron, who's too preoccupied protecting Professor Rowan and Platinum's father to help train them, decides to call Volkner to help instead. Initially, the call doesn't go through because Sunnyshore City is experiencing a blackout caused by Volkner renovating his gym. I guess now's a good time to reveal that manga Volkner, much like game and anime Volkner, is somewhat disheartened with Pokemon battles and changes up his gym a lot to try and keep himself entertained. Eventually, Byron's call gets through and Volkner decides to go and help, because he thinks that it will be exciting and make him feel alive again. A little while later, Volkner eventually meets up with the three girls and asks where the strong trainer he's going to battle is. The three girls are confused because they thought Volkner was sent to train them, and it's revealed that Byron didn't explain everything all the way to Volkner, and Volkner was under the assumption there would be a tough trainer he was going to battle rather than train people. As Volkner starts to walk away, feeling pretty disheartened after getting his hopes up for a great battle, Platinum convinces him to give them a shot and asks him to battle her. Volkner, still pretty indifferent to the whole thing, although somewhat intrigued, agrees to battle her. In the battle, we get to see Volkner's Elekid, Raichu, and Electivire versus Platinum's Lopunny, Empoleon, and Rapidash. During their battle, Platinum tells Volkner about the Team Galactic admin Jupiter's strength and tactics and how immensely strong she was. Their battle eventually escalates and Volkner calls out his Electivire to deal a finishing blow on Platinum's Rapidash, and is surprised to see that it's still standing. Interested by not just Platinum's battle ability, but how apparently Team Galactic is even stronger than she is, Volkner agrees to not only train her, but Maylene and Candace as well. He also says that if Platinum can keep knocking out all of his Pokemon in their battle, he'll turn their training bout into a gym battle and give her a beacon badge, which she does eventually earn from him. A little while after helping the three girls train, most of the Sinnoh gym leaders have all gone to battle Team Galactic at Spear Pillar, but Volkner instead decides to go back to Sunyshore. Before he leaves, he finds a strange distortion in front of the send-off spring, and he calls his friend Flint to help him check it out. This now gets us into the Platinum chapter, where we see Volkner and Flint researching the strange disturbance until they eventually decide to enter the distortion world through Turnback Cave. Once inside, they're both attacked by Giratina, and despite the danger they're in, they both seem to be enjoying themselves and how strong of an opponent they're battling. Eventually though, they're both defeated by Giratina's Dragon Breath. A little while later, after Charon, who had been controlling Giratina for most of the Platinum chapter, was defeated and his control on Giratina broken, Flint and Volkner, who both recovered from Giratina's previous attacks on them, attack Giratina from behind to subdue it before it hurts anybody else. And that's the last we've seen of Volkner in Pokemon Adventures. I know I always say this about the manga versions, but I really like this portrayal of Volkner. We get to see a little more of both his somber, bored with battling attitude and his "this is an exciting battle, I'm feeling pumped up" attitude, which is awesome. It's also really cool to see his friendship with Flint explored more in the manga. I know both the anime and games showed it off a little bit, but in the manga you can really see their friendship shine. And this wraps up our character study on Volkner. Even with a relatively smaller amount of appearances, I still think the central idea around his character is an interesting one. The idea of somebody being so talented at something that it starts to become unexciting to them is compelling, and having Volkner be that way with Pokemon battles is an idea that we don't see a lot of in Pokemon, but definitely works. What I also like about this trait is that in his different versions, we always get to see somebody that brings back the spark of excitement he used to feel with battles. In the anime, it's Ash, in the manga, it's Platinum and Giratina, and in the games, it's us, the player. It's just kind of nice to see a character that was so down and disheartened and actually feel like we're helping them out for the better. Anyways, what do you guys think of Volkner? Do you think he's the coolest gym leader we've had even though he doesn't use ice types? Maybe you think he's kind of lame and overrated. Let me know what you guys think of him in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and shocking, I didn't see this coming.